Now I stand before you crossing Peraring Anna's birthday, and tomorrow we are going to celebrate Periyar's birthday. And we are standing in Anna's Sanitary Library. My message is to you as well as my brothers from Telangana as well as to people from Punjab that whatever samples or examples have been quoted in US system and whatever dynamics of bottom-up approach, Tamil Nadu Dravidian Eco Health System has finished that. So the success story of Dravidian Eco Health System of Tamil Nadu is we have introduced our reservation policies in public health education and public health recruitment as Justice Party did. Then subsequent governments with the social justice fight of Periyar, who made the first constitutional amendment, the fight was prolonged, and Periyar Anna had a policy of social justice policy. And when Kalaignar took over, he has seen that all public health education system and public health recruitment follow the reservation process system. So that is why in Tamil Nadu, we have a good ecosystem of inclusive diversity. I don't need to cite examples of US. I got a wonderful examples to whenever you enter into a government medical college in Keelpak or Tanjavur, you will have doctors from SC community, scheduled caste community, MBC community. You have nephrologists, cardiologists, super specialists, and our ecosystem has 28,000 government doctors, 18,000 government nurses. We got phenomenal primary health centers, and we have a government public health system in Tamil Nadu who does transplant surgeries in our tertiary institutions. So how did we achieve? Because one single line is our Dravidian ethos system is to give medicine to a common man, make the common man as a doctor. So this fundamental policy of Tamil Nadu has been engraved in various policymakers, and Tamil Nadu ecosystem has resisted and revolted when anyone tampers the system. So why the voices from rest of the Tamil Nadu, rest of the country is not so? Because the rest of the country states have been exposed that when you want to become a doctor, you should be from privileged sections. It is only after the 70 years, or I would say from 67 onwards, the Dravidian experiment has made people realize that a commoner can become a doctor. A commoner can become a super specialist. And we have experiments in reservations, sir. When Kalaignar thought that there were issues in conducting deliveries for Islamic women, he introduced something called the Islamic inner reservation quota in BCM. And we have awesome Islamic Muslim doctors to conduct deliveries. So the infant mortality rate will reduce in that particular segment. Kalaignar introduced something called Arundhandir quota, where traditionally in Arundhandir is supposed to be the scavenging population in hospitals, in medical college hospitals. Kalaignar's inner reservation in public health recruitment as well as in public health education made those ancestors' children as doctors and deans of medical college institutions. So we stand at the peak helm of affairs of this Dravidian movement contribution to this. So our resistance to NEET is by default from this ethos. So we should acknowledge our Dravidian forefathers who have carried out the policy of reservation, affirmative action in TN public health system and public health recruitment, where all other states are just beginning to start with. So as a responsible union government, as Shetty sir told, the success examples of midday meal program, the union government did a plagiarism of our policy. If you take our success model of our Mutthalakshmi Amma's maternity benefit scheme, now PM Modi has done a plagiarism of our policy. For successful implementation of program, we have taken up. But I am asking the union government policymakers to understand what is a successful model to improve our public health system is to follow the Tamil Nadu health model of inclusive education. Simple. So why did Kalaignar abolish entrance exams? See, initially we have surpassed all types of mechanisms in Tamil Nadu. All experiments have been conducted. First, there was an interview system based on reservation roster. Then MJR came in and he introduced something called hybrid system where you give 100 marks for entrance exams and 200 marks for 12th standard marks. Even that system, by then Vice Chancellor Ananthakrishnan sir set up a committee out to abolish entrance exams. So they abolished that 100 marks entrance exams because they found out that there was an urban orientation, right? There was an urban overhead. So we have understood that experiment way back in 2006 itself. From 2006 to 2018, before NEET, all the doctors which have been produced by Tamil Nadu public government health system were non-NEET doctors. You know how much score they did in PG NEET? First PG NEET, after 10 years of non-NEET UG doctors, they scored for 500, first 500 ranks, they scored 300 ranks. First 300 ranks from Tamil Nadu. First 1,000 was 565. So the concept of NEET will promote merit, the NEET will promote standard is defeated. It's obvious. We have to be very clear that our constitution is unitary. We have to be very clear, our constitution framework is unitary. The federalism is a mirage. That we have to admit that, we have to accept that. Only when we accept this fundamental, we can win this war. So why federalism is a mirage? Why our constitution is unitary? So for every initiatives a state government takes in, there is always a gap in our constitution to override a state. That too, when an obsolete majority government comes in, imagine the way they tampered our constitution. Imagine the way they tampered the fundamentals of the constitution. So naturally it's skewed. So in order to overcome that, in order to overcome a parliamentary legislation, it is our utmost duty for us to pass a state legislation. And we have got a governor who's sought upon on the legislation. We have to put a pressure on the governor to pass a resolution to have a president accent. Then our Honorable CM has to pass a second sitting immediately to pass it again when he had no other option to give it to the president. So now the NEET, the legislation, what we passed in our Tamil Nadu State Assembly, it is in circulation now, deliberately for 2 years. 3 letters came from various departments from the union government. I have to address my friends from Punjab and from Telangana. The Union Home Ministry writes to the state government, the resolution what you have passed in Tamil Nadu State Assembly, twice passed, which says that the 12th standard marks will be the basis of selection criteria for Tamil Nadu MGR Medical University colleges, which are the Tamil Nadu Government Medical College alone. We are asking for NEET exemption. We didn't ask for even for NEET abolition. So NEET exemption for government medical colleges. You know what did the Union Government Home Ministry replied? This resolution is against the sovereignty of India. It's against the unity of India. We were shocked. Union government said this reply to the state government, and state government had to reply, my dear brothers, the sovereignty and unity lies with the people. That was Anna's words in Anna Secretary Library, not in the textbooks of your constitution. But even though, how come they quoted a lot of Supreme Court previous judgments to the Union government reply, Home Department reply, how their particular statement is not against sovereignty, is not against unity. It is very much with the principles of, directive principle of state. In order to deliver public health care, the government incentives and incentivization of public health education is vital. That was the message you gave. The second, apart from that, the Ayush Ministry also sent a reply to receive a comments. It violates Article 14. Which one? Our article violates 14. Now we had huge examples shown by Ashok Vardhan Shetty sir and Jawahar Naisen sir, how the violation Article 14 is blatantly happening. Now the Union government says that our particular legislation violates Article 14. Now I remember Periyar. See, when Justice Party's reservation, when Om Mandirar promulgated a new type of reservation policy, the same Shenbagadaram Joragarajan case is based upon, it violates the Article 14. The same primitive argument they are sending us to back again. So Tamil Nadu government also replied that this particular exemption, NEET exemption, restores medical education to underprivileged section of the society, thanks to the efforts of Justice A.K. Rajan Committee's scientific committee report from 88,000 respondents, various questionnaires. We gave the Xerox copies, data with data to the Union government to reply that your concept of NEET violates that, not us. So you should understand, we are fighting against a scam. So this is a scam. Why it's a scam? They have got an integrated nexus. Supreme Court is unitary. The executive in the center are unitary. The constitution is unitary. Now we are fighting a federal warfare, asking for the state rights. That's one angle. Now we are also fighting against a scam. What is a scam? The recent Economic Political Weekly described that entire NEET coaching mafia's worth is 55,000 crores. Now they're going to project to 2000. Let me finish. This is 2024. In 2033, it will expand to 1.3 lakh crores.
Even now it is
Now the growth rate of the business is 15%. So now it is 15 times. It is a 15 times of the collective budget allotted to all the central institutes, including IITs, JIPMAs, and AIIMS. 15 times more. So it's a coaching industry which is huge amount of funding mechanism, and there's a Supreme Court, irrespective of whatever scientific data we provide, it fixes to just one stand. So just only one stand. What stand? Whatever arguments you place. So they have gone to such an extent, any arguments regarding NEET in respect to high courts will have to be transferred to the Supreme Court. You know that? If there's an affected party in a jurisdiction, for example, there was a issue of faulty Tamil translation. Around 35 to 50 questions was a faulty Tamil translation was done in a question paper. All the grievances went to the High Court of Madras. High Court of Madras clearly said that mistake is there. You got to rectify the list. You got to put as a revamped rank. The High Court judgment. Now the NTA thought we can't work out in High Courts. So again they went against the High Court order to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court listened patiently. Yes, we accepted. 35 mistakes were done. I think we have to correct it. No. We'll see it next year. We can't change the list. You can go back. The way Altama's Kabir judgment of 2013 was recalled in a very absurd manner. The way the Supreme Court 2024 judgment saying that the NEET scam or the NEET leak is not systemic. I don't know, I'm a doctor, no? A gangrene can be in any tip of a toe. A gangrene is a gangrene, right? It can kill a body, right? So the Supreme Court is accepting the problem is not systemic means the Supreme Court has given a sanction that this NTA exams is screwed, but accept it. So now we have courts which acts in a apex manner, in a unitary manner. We have a government sitting at the top. We have executive sitting at the top, the bureaucracy and legislative acting in a unitary manner, and we are fighting a warfare. We are fighting for the principles of social justice. We are fighting the principles of federalism. And we are fighting for our protection of the Tamil Nadu public health system, which is going to be in trouble in future years to come. See, basically, the idea of public health system, of Dravidian system of Tamil Nadu is to have doctors in public health system, to have talented minds in public health system, at primary health center level, at secondary health center level, as well as in medical college institutions. There were stalwarts in our Tamil Nadu public health systems. Everyone is there. Now slowly, the NEET is deteriorating that system. Talented minds are moving away from the system. So commercialization of education at the school level, commercialization of education at coaching mafia, commercialization of medical education is very much against our public health system of the country. So we'll quote the same policymakers at the center who scratched their heads how to improve rural healthcare, how to eliminate tuberculosis, how to control pandemics. We have to ask the same policymakers, boss, we have got an excellent Tamil Nadu public health method for you to evaluate. As sir said, it may take 30 to 40 years for them to convince. I'm very doubtful whether they will be convinced, sir, because it is a fight between Aryanism and Dravidism. So the Aryan ethos, I don't want to mention a caste name particularly because I'm a legislative member. The Aryan ethos are very much within the Supreme Court judges. The Aryan ethos are very much within the executive. The Aryan ethos are very much within the central policy makers. So the fight, what we are going to do, we want to revamp our fight. What Periyar did, what Anna did, what Kalaignar did. And the fight is on and we'll march together. Thank you.
உன் கடவுளை விட உன் சாஸ்திரத்தை விட உன் முன்னோரை விட உன் வெங்காயம் வழக்கமாத்தை விட உன் அறிவு பெருசு அதை சிந்தி